Hello, random raccoons in my trash can. I have so much going on right now, so I'm just going to vlog a little bit while continuing my sticky business, and hopefully transform my sticky business into a proper workshop of Eldritch Terrors. Alright, let's see what's going on today. Paper, filling. I have been wanting to make much more long-form videos, but I'm keeping to the schedule of just posting things so I don't get cold feet, so hopefully I never get cold feet. And right now that just means doing the best with what I've got, which isn't a ton of time. My partner and I are working on moving places right now, and it's a lot of work. She's disabled and working on a voucher program. She's been on a voucher, but Tennessee is very picky. It's the South. They give us no wiggle room working off of any sort of government support. I say we, it's her voucher. I just follow the approximate area wherever she goes. Because I am her caregiver, and I'm like a fly trapped in honey. My job is taking care of her. She is my love and my life. Not my entire life, but I still end up spending most of my time around her anyway. So, we're working on getting out of the apartment that we're both in right now and moving to a townhouse. Because this current apartment is actually awful. Yeah, I'm one of those sad, poor fucks on YouTube bemoaning how hard life is because being lower class sucks ass. But I have a job and the paperwork appears to be going through, and in time as well. It's a tight schedule, but I'm actually kind of hopeful for things. The problems with this current apartment were definitely out of the blue. Not entirely so, but it still came as quite a shock. Turns out management changed essentially right before my partner moved in. And it's the funniest thing, the townhouse we're looking at right now, we got to chatting with the manager, and apparently she had run into the guy who's managing this place. And he is, unironically, a Disney villain. Like, very gay, rolls around with a gay posse, has no respect for health codes or hygiene or maintenance. Like, he is just getting that bug, and his constantly upkept haircut is a testament to that. So, we live in the sort of apartment where the higher up you go, the worse it gets. That does mean bugs. I hate the bugs. I've never had bed bugs before, and I wish I didn't have to learn what it was like to have bed bugs. But I got rid of them once, and I'm hoping to get rid of them again before we move. I refuse to let them move with us. I don't know. My partner suggested I try being a little more journal-ish with my videos, especially considering the fact that I don't have a lot of space just for myself, so here it is, my void, my lovely void that I can scream into. I have a lot of good thoughts, but I don't have a lot of good thoughts that roll off the brain very easily. Besides my job and surviving the hellscape that is the southern US, I do like my painting, as you've seen, and I do like my games as well. But generally speaking, how do you say, not a huge fan of the current economic system? Were this a month ago, I would have been so much more blunt, but apparently, Mr. President has made it flaggable to say anything about being potentially anti-anything he in particular likes. So I have to be careful about what I say. Everywhere. But that's where I stand. I suppose just in this small time that I'm here, I can't talk about one thing I've had on my mind. And that's just something I figured out about the way I think about moving through life and moving through life around other people. I came to the decision a bit ago that most issues really boil down to I can choose to take the time to expand upon whatever the topic is, the conversation, the question, the statement, or I can be reductive about it. And, you know, that has proven to be surprisingly applicable to so many facets of my life. Is there an interpersonal issue? Well, I can react by digging deeper and asking questions, or I can react by minimizing it and moving on. And while there are a few select cases where reducing a topic or an event is helpful, I have found that more often than not, being curious about everything has improved my well-being so very much. If someone's an asshole to me, I could get mad or write it off or something. But if I have the time and I'm interested, like I think it's worthwhile, then I'll think about it. Look at the different angles, look at the context of things. That's what we're always forgetting, right? We like to tell snappy stories with beginnings, middles, and ends, but at the end of the day, the snappy stuff doesn't last very long. It's like a cheap soda. You get a little bit of joy for a little bit of time, maybe, but then it wears off and you're just left seeking the next easy high, right? But if you take the time to really sit and dissect things, oh my god, that's gonna drive my OCD insane. If you sit to really dissect things, then it's so much easier to be kind and be interested, to be less flappable, more patient, more nuance about everything, really. I've applied this to things that stress me out, things that freak me out, to people giving me trouble, to people I enjoy, political topics, philosophical topics, navigating conversation at all, and also just how I view myself. It's a lot easier to be gentle and to be constructive. That's the thing. It's a lot easier to be constructive when you make a point to take the time to give anything and everything the benefit of the doubt, just enough to hear it out. You know, due process before judgment. And it's fucking hard. And it takes a lot of practice. And I hate it, but it does also sometimes shake out to making me seem holier than thou. Sometimes. And that's never my goal. My self-esteem is average to low at best. It's just that I've really determined to be the better man, the bigger man, you know, like the level head in every situation as much as possible. And it doesn't always work. Oh god, it doesn't always work. But I've noticed that I really appreciate it, especially when handling myself and thinking about anything that's going on with me or the world around me. And the people I care about also seem to really appreciate it. The only people who are upset by the things I say and do these days either entirely miss what I say or catch me at a particularly bad moment. Which is no excuse to stop trying. It just means I'll try harder next time. It's such an important concept to me, the idea of opening up and expanding rather than making small or light of anything. Obviously, there's not infinite time and resources in the world, so you do have to pick your battles. But it makes the individual days go by so much better. It makes it so much easier to be curious, to be constructive, creative, patient, gentle, and ironically also makes it a lot easier to be a proper bitch when I need to be. Like, I used to be really vulnerable to just folding over as a doormat when put under pressure, like bullying, right? But once I taught myself to slow down every single time, or close to every single time, I found that I could think about myself in more flexible ways, and in being able to think about myself in more flexible ways, I also discovered the brilliant ability to just properly be a psychopath. I was born a psychopath, right? But I also trained myself out of it, and was trained out of it pretty early on, pretty dedicatedly. But I'm at the point in my life where I just realize some people are gonna seek me harm, no matter what I do. That's just the reality of things right now. So, when push comes to shove, I don't have to fold every time. I do in fact have the option to turn around and destroy them instead. Not an option I pick very often, but it's definitely there. It made my latest breakup a lot easier. It's made it easier to stand up for things I honest to God deserve. I'm always bending over backward for other people, and I think I'm finally at a point where I can undo that a little bit. Alright, Carlo P, little video game man, has just started his new job. Stickers to organized house. Everything about this game is just achingly precious. I can see... I personally really hate farming games, so like to see a game that would be dubbed as cozy that's not about farming and would... what other words I'm looking for? I can see myself coming home after a long stressful day and just sitting down to run this little sticker shop and feeling a little better. negative on a stream, but I don't know if I have the guts to scream yet. I came here to make Eldritch Monstrosities, and I've just made packages full of very happy birds. It is so interesting being a creature that actually runs on Bloodlust. Like, properly. Deep down, step 1 of the pyramid of needs. But when that's satisfied, like, I don't have to be a villain when I'm contented. But, you know, not always contented. Having friends of many walks of life makes it a lot easier to figure out what one actually needs, and actually is when no one's looking. Which is always a hard thing to figure out. And it's can very easily become a quick grab a hole of, you know, this is really, really deep, but I see no problem in speaking honestly about things that a lot of people experience. And if that's something you enjoy, just pondering upon oneself, and you get bullied for that, just take a moment to think about, like, all the missed opportunities the bully must be having, right? Like, if I didn't make a hobby out of, like, squinting at myself when I was really young, and if I hadn't kept that up all the way up until now, I wouldn't have figured out how to enjoy myself, how to take care of myself, or even how to take care of other people, which is very important to me. I will probably never be a mother, that's for sure, but at the end of the day, the people I have chosen to keep around me are more important than the world, and making their lives a little brighter is all I really need at the end of most days. Well, that and to enjoy something deeply blunt and gritty. I'm a sucker for a good horror movie or essay on something horrible happening to someone somewhere. While it is nice to have life rolling easy, I do get bored kind of quick. I would not do well in a utopia, I don't think. Maybe it's because I was born and bred in our Lord's year, end of the world, but, you know, we may never know, and that's fine. We don't need to know. The only thing I need to know is how to continue on to tomorrow for now. The housing situation does have me very, very stressed out. It's been hard to, like, do much on my own time. Not that I've had a lot of my own time, but still, I'd like to be able to think about other things again. I'd like to... I'd like to be able to create more interesting things again, have more interesting conversations with people again. Like, pleasantries are nice and all, but I do need substance. I will properly stir crazy if I don't have something properly chunky going on in my brain. Does that make any sense? Like, I need to be chewing on something in the background all of the time. Properly all of the time. I think the only moments in which the back of my brain isn't humming with something is when I'm in the middle of a migraine. And that does mean I can seem rather disconnected and disjointed because, you know, I have a lot of topics I'm thinking about. It's easy to jump around. But more applicably speaking, it does mean I need to be careful about running myself dry. Like, if I just have a day that is pleasant, or I'm just hanging out with someone and the conversation is nice, or heaven forbid, if I'm trying to date someone that's just like a sweet person, it drives me up a wall. Like, I will be pleasant and kind and polite and all these things, and I have no problem with that person as a person. But if I don't have someone who scares me a little bit, or who I want to scare, then I will just go absolutely stir crazy. I don't know why. I mean, I have some theories. You subject a child to constant stress, and they're always going to need stress. It's actually part. I think I'm gonna add something weird in these next few packages. Look at me, I'm fussing over the weirdest stuff right now. Oh wait, I can only afford King Girls. Where was I? Oh god, no, where was I? I fucked up. I thought about something that was unrelated. Why is that not scroll? It's under Halloween, let's see. A single. Can you imagine getting a package with a single candy bar? Oh yeah. One of my favorite pastimes is making general theories about human psychology, or more specifically, the psychology of overactive autistic types. It sounds vague, but if you know the type, you know the type, and if you are the type, you definitely know the type. And one of the ideas I've got rattling around in there is just about how a seed will grow into whatever substrate it's put on, right? Whatever dirt you plunk it on. So, if you have a child who is mistreated from birth in specific and consistent ways, they are going to be shaped by those ways probably forever. And we will never know truly to what degree because of how generational trauma and things work. So, if you have a child that is built for war, be it literal, be it silent, be it in a tiny stepping manner, they're always going to have a piece of that. And I think that people who come back from traumatic events are just a good example of that on Fast Forward. The difference between PTSD and complex PTSD, yeah? But the actual applicable bits of that thought have got to do with, well, what happens when that child is grown up and not in that environment anymore. You see it end up with people who may be very well adjusted in a lot of ways, but have very bad risk-seeking behaviors, or a need for damaging attention, or just like a quiet, constant itching to be in pain or cause pain. And to people who haven't experienced these things, it sounds properly fucked up, terrifying even. But it is one of those realities I feel it goes unsaid very often and should not. This is one of the topics people should be talking about much more often. Because when we don't, the people who have these unusual needs often end up being confused, ignoring themselves, neglecting themselves, and they might, you know, just assume that it's some sort of, like, inherent reflection of their goodness as a being or something, right? I know a lot of people who are raised... Oh, that's adorable. I like that. That's a good call. I know a lot of people who end up with things like BPD because of the volatile home environment they grew up in. Or people who just were put under constant expectations to perform over and over and over, day in and day out. And that leaves them with, well, in the case of BPD, oftentimes a need for a certain level of risk and danger in the relationships they have. And even just the gut need for a relationship at all times, be it good or bad. And if there's no room for discussion about how that need comes to be, then oftentimes people who are suffering with these things, or just are these things, are left with the assumption that it just must be something about them. Like, inherently. I've heard too many people with coping mechanisms and carryovers that just think they are monsters or bad people. I have to remind my partner all the time that she might have the things, she might have the thoughts and the urges and the feelings and all of that jazz, but it does not mean that she's not a good person and not worthy of love and patience and all that. Obviously, if you're mishandling yourself and being a dick, like, you need to take responsibility for that. But if you are taking responsibility for that and doing the best you can, then there definitely needs to be room for you to be patient and kind with yourself. Realize that the mold you were cast into has a very different shape, and when you get past the weird panicky button mashing of what is cultural norms, a lot of the times it doesn't matter. Really. Like, unless you are blatantly hurting other people or properly damaging yourself, it oftentimes doesn't matter. Like, you can have weird kinks. That's fine. You can have fetishes. That's fine. You can have a weird need to crawl into a room on your own once every few days to stare at a specific fictional character and have a pseudo-relationship with them. Sorry, that's a bit different than all the other examples, but it's true, and that's fine. There should not be shame in fulfilling needs, even if they might seem unconventional at first. Because that's the thing, every need comes from somewhere. Every thought and every feeling, it does come from somewhere. Unless you have a certain condition that causes disrupted and disorganized thoughts, like schizophrenia is one of them, brain injury and things like that. Like, unless you're part of one of those very specific circumstances, everything you are and do comes from somewhere. And as I mentioned earlier, if you have the guts to go looking to explore that, then you'll probably find out what the source of it is. And when you do so, it might end up not being so scary, or not so damaging. You might find solutions, or in the case of it being a non-damaging thing, you might come to find genuine pride and enjoyment in it. I used to absolutely hate taking care of my autistic needs. It was something I was very heavily shamed about when I was small and not so small. And to this day, I still, like, have the need knee-jerk of, ugh, that's a really weird thought, or that's a really odd desire, or my instincts to go and do this thing just is faux pas, or uncouth, or uncool. And especially when you're neurodivergent and have a very complicated past, those thoughts just aren't helpful. Unless you actually properly want the approval of someone who thinks differently than you, there's no point running those little calculations of self-policing, right? Like, don't listen to the cop in your own head. Anyway, it's that sort of explorative opening up of all ideas and all concepts that, oh, damn it again, that's gotten me to a point of properly living. It's all good and well to survive and to fill space and breathe and do things and check off the tick boxes of living, whatever that may be, but properly being alive is an art form, really. It doesn't have to be complicated, but it's not really living if you're not really there. If you're burying yourself under expectations that don't apply, or just uncertainty. Uncertainty can waste a lot of your time and bandwidth. Then, I don't know, maybe try taking a break from it. Yeah, that's the thing that no one mentions, is you can try out thinking different ways and go back if you don't like it. I wish that's something that was more commonplace. Like, you can try out a new philosophy, and if it doesn't jive with you, if it doesn't feel right, you can go back. It's fine. There is an undo button. You don't have to sell your soul every time you pick up a new idea or decide to try something new. A lot of times people will try to put really high bars on entry, be it like a paywall or a social one, or just honestly just a made-up one. But, you know, in your own space, in your own head, in your own brain, that's your decision to make. And I just wish more people understood that while uncertainty can be upsetting, it's not fun or useful to be afraid of yourself or what you might be. The only times people properly make bad decisions are when they're going in blind, or when they react out of a strong emotion, be it manic or negative or any other thing. I love sitting down and just thinking, being with myself, exploring myself, and exploring the people around me too. It's an underrated hobby, I feel like. Understanding things, especially oneself and the world around them. There is little to no downside. I've been giving this sales pitch for fucking ages, but it's true. I wish more people had the room in their bandwidth to properly love learning, especially when it comes to learning things about the self and people around the self. It truly is a wonderful thing at the end of the day, and will give you so many skills. Truly, the number of perspectives and techniques and facts and every other thing I have learned just from being curious about myself and curious about the people around me. It's fantastic. Like, it's properly phenomenal. And I couldn't recommend it highly enough for anyone. So, little raccoon in my garbage can. I don't know why you're here, but I'm glad you are. And I just want you to walk away knowing that you are very important at the end of the day, whether you think so or not, or whether someone else thinks so or not. It's true. And you'll realize that if you go looking. So, have a good one, and don't forget that the world is yours, and you have the opportunity to be whatever fits you best.